There's a special kind of fear that comes from walking through a place that's been completely abandoned. A place where life used to happen. Lockers slamming, kids laughing, machines humming, families arguing behind thin walls. And now it's just dust, silence, and whatever decided to move in after everyone left. Welcome to Night Encounters. You're about to hear 3 allegedly true stories from people who went exploring where they shouldn't have. Old schools, forgotten motels, shuttered hospitals, and more. They thought they were just checking out some cool, creepy ruins. Instead, they discovered that abandoned doesn't always mean empty. So dim the lights, put your headphones on. And remember, if you ever feel like someone is still there with you, trust your gut. Story 1, The Last Bell, by Caleb. This happened in 2018, in a small town in Ohio where I grew up. There was this old high school on the edge of town that had been shut down for over a decade. Budget cuts, structural issues, whatever the reason, they just closed it and built a new one closer to the freeway. By the time I was in my early 20s, the old place was practically urban legend material. Broken windows, overgrown football field, graffiti everywhere. People said you could still smell old gym socks and hear the bells in the middle of the night. I didn't buy into the ghost stuff, but I was into photography. I just bought a decent camera and wanted some gritty, moody shots for my portfolio. So one Saturday evening, I convinced my friend Luke to go with me and check it out. It was late summer, around 6 p.m. The sky was cloudy, the kind of flat gray that makes everything look washed out. We parked down the road so nobody would see my car, then cut through the trees and came up behind the school. Up close, it looked worse than I expected. The windows were mostly busted out, doors boarded, rust streaks running down the faded brick. The old "Home of the Wildcats" sign was hanging crooked, one chain snapped, just barely clinging on. My stomach tightened, but I chalked it up to excitement. "This is perfect," I told Luke. He just shook his head. "We've got like rabies and tetanus written all over this." We found a side door where someone had already pried off the board. We squeezed through into what used to be a side hallway. The smell hit me first, mold, dust, and something stale I couldn't quite place. My footsteps echoed in a way that made the building feel hollow and huge. I kept telling myself, it's just an empty school. Nothing weird. Just get your shots and leave. We moved down the hallway, our phone flashlights cutting through floating dust. Old posters still clung to the walls. Anti-drug campaigns, prom announcements for years that meant nothing to us. We passed a classroom with the door half open. Out of habit, I nudged it with my foot. It creaked open just a bit, and that's when I heard it. A faint, metallic clink from deeper inside the room, like something lightly tapping against a desk leg. I froze. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. Luke shrugged. "Probably something you bumped, or a rat." I tried to convince myself he was right. I stepped into the classroom and swept my light over the desks. They were in rough rows, some knocked over, some missing. Papers were scattered, soaked into a mush on the floor. There was a teacher's desk up front with an old, dusty globe tipped sideways. Nothing moved. Nothing looked disturbed. Still, my skin crawled. Maybe I did bump something, but that sound felt intentional. I shook it off and started shooting. The photos actually looked great. Long shadows, broken glass, the ghost of a school day frozen in time. For a few minutes, I forgot about the noise. Then, out in the hallway, I heard it again. Clink, clink, clink. Slow, metal on tile, moving further down the hall, like someone dragging a pipe or a chain. I looked at Luke, and he looked back. "Tell me you heard that," I said. "Yeah," he muttered. I heard it. We stepped back into the hallway. The sound had stopped. The hallway stretched out in both directions, empty, our lights bouncing off lockers and peeling paint. I cleared my throat. "Hello?" I called out, instantly regretting it. My voice sounded too loud, too obvious. Silence. For a second, I felt dumb. It's an empty school. Of course it's gonna creak and make weird noises. Buildings settle, animals move around, right? "Maybe someone else is in here," Luke said quietly. "Teenagers or, like, other idiots like us." That actually made me feel better. Human noise was easier to deal with than whatever my imagination was doing. We decided to head toward the gym because I wanted a wide-open space shot. As we walked, I noticed something I hadn't on the way in. Some of the lockers were closed, but a bunch of them were carefully propped open. Not random vandalism, it looked almost organized. Luke noticed too. "This is weird," he said. "Why would anyone do that?" I didn't have an answer, but my stomach started to twist again. Something about the pattern was bothering me. Every fourth or fifth locker was closed. The rest were open. We pushed through the double doors into the gym. The wooden floor was warped and buckled in some places from water damage. The basketball hoops were still there, nets long gone, bleachers half pulled out. I started taking pictures again, forcing myself to relax. The gym was actually beautiful in that decayed, haunting way photographers love. Dust motes drifted in the light from the high windows. The silence felt almost peaceful. Then from one of the open doorways leading to the locker rooms, we heard muffled voices. I froze with the camera halfway to my face. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. This time it wasn't just random sound. It was definitely someone talking, low and muted, like they were trying not to be heard. Luke grabbed my arm. "Dude, we should bounce." I wanted to agree, but some part of me, the same part that had dragged me into this place, needed to know who was here. My brain tried to rationalize it. Probably other explorers, maybe filming something. Nothing sinister. Still, my heart was pounding. Something felt extremely off about all this. We moved slowly toward the locker room doorway, footsteps quiet on the warped wood. I could feel my sweat between my shoulder blades despite the cool air. Right before we reached the doorway, the voices cut off. Sudden silence. I stood just outside the locker room entrance, back pressed against the wall, listening. I could hear my own breathing faster now, and the faint buzz of a distant light fixture that somehow still had power. Then from inside, I heard the metal clink again, followed by a low, irritated whisper, "Shh, someone's here." Every hair on my arm stood up. I turned to Luke. His eyes were wide. His lips formed a silent, "Go." We started to back away, slowly, trying not to make a sound. I had this chronic, sinking feeling in my gut, like I just walked in on something I absolutely wasn't supposed to see. Then, without warning, a man stepped out of the locker room. He was in his late 30s or 40s, skinny, wearing a dirty gray hoodie and work pants. In his hand was a length of rusted metal pipe, dragging against the floor. "What are you doing in here?" he snapped, eyes narrowing at us. I swallowed hard. "We're just taking pictures. We thought this place was empty." Behind him, I could see the dim outline of two more figures in the locker room. One of them was holding what looked like a heavy duffel bag. There were boxes stacked behind them, and something metallic on the floor that caught the light. Maybe tools, maybe something else. The guy stepped closer, gripping the pipe. "This ain't a tourist spot. You need to leave, now." Every instinct in me screamed that something wasn't right. This wasn't just a squatter or a random explorer. They were doing something in here. Something they really didn't want witnesses for. Luke raised his hands. Okay, we're leaving, man. Chill." The man smirked. "You came in the side entrance." I nodded. "Go out the back. It's closer. I'll walk you." That was the moment my fear spiked into outright panic. He wanted us to go deeper into the building, away from the roads, away from our car. Everything in my body clenched. "No, it's fine," I said quickly. "We'll just go out the way we came in." His face changed. The fake calm dropped, and something colder slid into place. "I said," he repeated, voice lower, "go out the back." His friends in the locker room shifted. I heard the sound of something heavy being set down, the metallic clinking again. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I don't know what possessed me, but I acted before my brain caught up. I grabbed Luke's wrist and hissed, shoving him in the direction of the main doors. We bolted. The gym exploded into echoing footsteps. I could hear the man behind us yelling, the pipe clanging on the floor as he started after us. Another pair of footsteps joined his, maybe two. My lungs burned as we sprinted across the warped court. I nearly tripped on a raised plank and caught myself on a rusted bleacher. I could hear my own breath, high and ragged, and the pounding of my heart in my ears. We crashed through the double doors into the hallway. We didn't even try to be quiet now. Our shoes slapped against the tile. "Wrong way," Luke shouted. "This isn't where we came in." He was right. In my panic, I'd taken a left instead of a right. Now we were barreling deeper into the building. The hallway ahead of us was darker, colder. Classrooms on each side, doors hanging off hinges. Behind us, I heard them, at least two men running, cursing, telling us to stop. I glanced left and saw a classroom with a huge broken window. Most of the glass was already out. Beyond it, I could see overgrown brush and the fading gray sky. "This way!" I yelled, veering into the room. We dove through the broken window frame, trying not to slice ourselves open. I felt glass scrape my forearm, but didn't stop to look. We hit the ground in the weeds outside, rolled and scrambled to our feet. The shouts behind us grew louder. I risked a look back and saw one of the men appear at the window, leaning out with the pipe in his hand, eyes full of rage. "Get out of here!" he screamed. "You didn't see nothing!" We didn't argue. We sprinted across the field, through waist-high grass, until we crashed into the tree line. Branches whipped at my face, grabbing my clothes. My legs felt like they were on fire, but I didn't stop. I didn't stop until we burst out near the road where we'd parked, lungs torn, sides cramping. We threw ourselves into the car, locked the doors, and peeled away so fast the tires squealed. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The adrenaline slowly ebbed, replaced by a cold, shaking realization. "What do you think they were doing?" Luke finally asked. I pictured the boxes, the duffel bags, the pipe, the weird pattern of open lockers. "Honestly," I said quietly, "nothing good." We debated going to the police, but what were we going to say? Hey, we trespassed on a condemned building and found some sketchy guys with metal pipes and bags? There was no proof they'd done anything illegal, and we'd be the ones admitting we had broken in. A week later, I drove past the old school again. There was yellow tape around the back, and a couple of county trucks parked near the loading dock. No sign, no explanation. Next time I went by, the tape was gone, but so was one of the doors, replaced with new boards. I still don't know what we interrupted in there. I don't know if our presence scared them off or made them more careful. I just know that when people say that school is abandoned, I correct them in my head. The building might be condemned, but something or someone is definitely still using it.
Story 2. Vacancy by Aaron. This happened in 2021 when I was driving cross-country from California to Texas for a new job. It was one of those long, solo road trips where the hours blur together and you start talking to yourself just to fill the silence. Somewhere in Arizona, my GPS routed me along a less traveled highway to avoid traffic. It was late afternoon, the sky that blinding, washed-out blue you get in the desert. Scrub, rocks, endless nothing on both sides. My gas was fine, but I was exhausted. I've been driving since early morning and my eyes were starting to sting. I told myself I'd pull off at the next town, grab a cheap motel and crash. Except there wasn't really a next town. Just miles of road, the occasional distant farm, and endless nothing. That's when I saw it. An old roadside motel sitting just off the highway, maybe half a mile down a cracked driveway. The sign was huge and faded, still clinging to the word vacancy in broken neon. The parking lot was empty. No cars, no lights, just a row of doors and sunburned paint. My first thought was, oh, it's abandoned, cool, creepy Americana. My second thought, embarrassingly, was, at least there's shade, I could pull in and rest for a bit. My stomach fluttered with unease, but I was so tired I pushed it down. I'm not staying, I muttered to myself, just stopping for a short break. Lock the doors, no big deal. I turned off the highway and followed the broken asphalts toward the motel. Up close, the place looked even deader. Weeds poked up through the cracks in the parking lot. The paint on the doors was peeling, barely visible. The office had its blinds half drawn, the open sign long dark. One of the windows was cracked, spiderwebs holding the pieces in place. I pulled my car into a spot under what used to be a lamppost. The light fixture was gone, just a rusted pole sticking out of the concrete. I killed the engine but left the keys in, habit from nervous traveling. The silence was thick. No highway noise, no birds, no wind. Just the soft ticking of my cooling engine. My heart was beating faster than it should have been for someone just stopping to rest. I checked my phone. No service. Of course. Just 20 minutes, I told myself. Close your eyes, rest your back, then get back on the road. I locked the doors, slid the seat back, and leaned my head against the headrest. My eyes started to drift closed. Then something made me open them again. In my rearview mirror, I thought I saw movement at one of the upstairs windows, just the faintest twitch of a curtain. I stared at it, pulse rising. The window was on the second floor, 2 doors down from the office. The curtain wasn't fully drawn, just enough that someone could stand behind it and peek out. The rational part of my brain chimed in. Wind, animals, fabric settling. You're tired, you're paranoid. But the air was still, and there hadn't been so much as a fly buzzing since I'd pulled in. My stomach nodded. Okay, I whispered, you're not napping, you're leaving. My hand went to the ignition. As I turned the key, the engine sputtered and died. I tried again. Nothing, just a weak click. A cold wave washed over me. I hadn't had any problems with the car the entire trip, no warning lights, no weird sounds, and now, the second I decided to leave, it just refused. I sat there for a moment in stunned silence, fingers shaking on the steering wheel. Come on, I muttered. Not now! Not here! I popped the hood release, grabbed my water bottle, and forced myself to step out of the car. The heat hit me like a wall, dry and heavy. I could feel sweat forming instantly on my neck. I lifted the hood and stared into the engine bay like I knew what I was doing. I didn't. Nothing looked obviously wrong. No smoke, no leaking fluids, no loose cables I could see. Behind me, the motel loomed, its blank doors and dark windows watching. I heard it then. A soft creak, like a door slowly opening.
I straightened up, heart pounding, and turned around. One of the upstairs doors, the same one near the window where I had seen the curtain move, was now slightly open. Just a crack, enough that I could see the darkness inside. "Hello?" I called, instantly regretting it. No answer. The hallway was shadowed, the railing rusted. But that door had definitely been closed when I pulled in. My mind scrambled for reasonable explanations. Maybe someone lives here. Maybe a caretaker. Maybe it's not abandoned at all, just failing. I swallowed and raised my hand. "Sorry? Car trouble. I'll be gone as soon as I get it started." Silence. I waited another 10 seconds, then turned back to the engine. My skin felt too tight, like it barely fit me. The entire time, I had the unshakable feeling that someone was watching me. After a few more useless minutes, I decided I'd have to call for help. Maybe 911 could connect me with a local tow. I grabbed my phone, already knowing what it was going to say. No service. When I looked up again, the upstairs door was closed. I hadn't heard it shut. I got back into the car, locked the doors, and turned the key again out of sheer stubbornness. Still nothing. My heart kept thudding in my chest, a constant reminder that something was wrong. I tried to calm myself down. Okay, worst case, you sleep in the car, get help in the morning. It's not ideal, but you're not going to die. Then I saw the fresh footprints. They were in the thin layer of dust that coated the parking lot, clearly visible in my side mirror. A trail of shoe prints leading from the stairs right up behind my car. My breath caught in my throat. Someone had come down. Someone had walked right up to the back of my car while I was under the hood. I hadn't heard them. I hadn't seen them. I whipped around, twisting in my seat to peer out the rear window. Empty. Just the faded motel and the open desert. My mind raced. They could be crouched behind the bumper. They could be on the other side of the car. My fingers dug into the steering wheel, knuckles white. I honked the horn in one sharp blast, hoping to startle whoever was there. The sound shattered the silence, echoing off the building. No one moved. No one yelled. But I felt it. That invisible shift when someone realizes you're onto them. My eyes darted to the office. The blinds were exactly the same. No cars, no signs of life. Then, from somewhere behind the building, I heard the growl of an engine. Not my car. A different one. The sound got louder, then cut off. My heart was racing now, this sick, electric panic pulsing through me. I don't know why, but in that moment I became absolutely certain that whoever was here did not want to help me. They'd been watching, moving quietly, getting closer. I slid down in my seat a little, trying to stay below window level. My hand fumbled through my bag until I found my small pocket knife. It felt laughably inadequate, but it was something. I sat there, barely breathing. After a few minutes, I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, moving along the upstairs walkway. Then down the exterior stairs, each step a dull thud. They stopped somewhere near the office. I could see the corner of the building from my angle, the edge where the walkway turned. Just out of sight, someone was standing there, watching. Then I heard the faint click of something. A camera? A lighter? Keys? I couldn't tell. Spoke. Low, but clear. She's still in the car.
A second voice answered, also male, a little rougher. Yeah, let her sit. It'll be dark soon. My chest tightened like a fist was squeezing my heart. I don't know how long I sat there, trying not to shake, trying to think. They knew I was here. They knew I was alone. They were waiting. Every nerve in my body screamed that if I stayed until dark, I might not leave at all. I forced myself to move. Slowly, quietly, I shifted the car into neutral. My plan was half-formed, desperate. The parking lot had a slight slope toward the highway. If I could coast far enough, maybe I could try a rolling start. My legs felt like jelly as I took my foot off the brake. The car began to roll, barely perceptible at first, then a little faster. I kept my hands on the wheel, eyes locked on the motel corner where the voices had been. As I started moving, I saw a figure step out, a man in a faded baseball cap and sunglasses, even though the sun was low. He stared at my car, head tilting like he was trying to decide something. For a second, I thought he was going to run after me. Instead, he just watched. Another man joined him, this one taller, arms crossed over his chest. I couldn't see their faces clearly, but I could feel their attention like a physical weight on me. My car rolled toward the driveway. The moment I hit the slight dip, I twisted the key again, praying. The engine coughed, then turned over. I almost sobbed with relief. I jammed the car into drive and floored it, gravel spitting out behind me. In the rearview mirror, I saw the men turn and walk briskly toward the back of the motel, like they didn't want to be seen from the highway. I didn't stop. I didn't look back again. I drove until my hands stopped shaking enough to dial for help. Eventually, I found a gas station a few towns over. I pulled in, parked, and sat there, heart still pounding. When I told the clerk about the motel, she went pale. "That place?" she asked. "Girl, you shouldn't have gone near that. It's been shut down for years. The cops have been there a bunch of times. Drugs, trafficking, that kind of thing. They never catch anyone, but they find things." I asked her what things meant. She just shook her head and said, "You don't want to know." I had the car checked out the next day. Mechanic couldn't find anything wrong. No issues with the battery, starter, alternator, nothing. "It should have started," he said with a shrug. "Sometimes they just act up." Maybe he was right. Maybe it was a weird coincidence. But sometimes when I'm lying in bed at night, my mind plays it differently. It replays the curtain moving, the door opening, the footprints behind my car, the voices saying to let me sit there until dark. And my gut tells me that if my car hadn't finally started, I might have ended up as one of those things they find when they go check that motel.
Story 3: Echoes in the Ward by Jason. This happened in 2020 in a Midwestern city I'm not going to name because the locals will know exactly what hospital I'm talking about. It used to be a big county hospital, the kind with a massive brick main building and a maze of side wings. It closed down years ago when they built a shiny new medical center closer to downtown. The old place was left to rot. Broken windows, overgrown parking lots, half the letters missing from the sign out front. I'd grown up hearing about it. People said it was haunted, of course. Every kid in a 30-mile radius had some made-up story about seeing lights in the windows or hearing screams at night. I always rolled my eyes at that. I'm not easily spooked by ghost stories. But I am an idiot for adventure. So when my friend Danny found an urban exploration group online that had posted location tips, she texted me, "Old hospital this weekend? I've got masks, gloves, and a flashlight. You in?" I should have said no. Instead, I said, "Hell yeah." We went on a Sunday afternoon. It was late fall, gray sky, wind cutting through our jackets, trees mostly bare. The hospital loomed over the cracked parking lot like some dead giant, windows dark, vines crawling up the walls. As we got closer, I felt this heavy pressure in my chest. Not fear exactly, more like my body was warning me, "This place is wrong. Turn around." I ignored it. We found a side entrance where the door had been forced open and propped with a chunk of concrete. We pulled on masks to avoid breathing in whatever was growing in there, clicked on our flashlights, and stepped into a long, dim hallway. It smelled like old dust, damp concrete, and something faintly medicinal that never really fades from hospital walls. "This is incredible," Danny whispered, her voice echoing off the tiles. I tried to play it cool, but my stomach had that low, uneasy twist. Yeah, incredible, I said. Let's just make sure we don't fall through a floor. The first 20 minutes were honestly kind of fun. We walked past abandoned nurses' stations, peeling paint hanging in curls from the walls. Old signage still pointed to radiology, pediatrics, ICU. Wheelchairs sat forgotten in corners. A couple of gurneys were left in the hall, their mattresses torn open, stuffing spilling out like innards. We took photos, joked about how many horror movies started exactly like this. For a while, it felt like we were just tourists in someone else's bad dream. Then we reached the surgical wing. The air felt different there. Heavier. Colder. We pushed through a pair of swinging doors into a corridor lined with operating rooms. The little round windows in the doors were opaque with grime, like cataracts. Someone had graffitied crude faces and phrases on the walls, but it didn't really take the edge off. I picked a door at random and pushed it open. The operating room inside was stripped. No lights, no machines, just an empty metal table on wheels in the center and cabinets hanging crooked on the walls. I was about to step inside when Danny grabbed my arm. "Wait," she whispered. "Listen." I held my breath. Somewhere further down the wing, I heard it. A soft metallic clatter, like something small being dropped on a tray. Then, a few seconds later, the distinct sound of wheels squeaking. Not loud, not close, but there. My skin prickled. "We're not alone," I said quietly. Danny's eyes were wide above her mask. "Could be other explorers, right?" "Yeah," I said, trying to convince myself. "Probably." But my gut was tightening, a slow, cold knot forming under my ribs. We should have turned around then. We didn't. Instead, we decided to announce ourselves, which sounds so stupid in hindsight. "Hello?" I called down the hallway, my voice echoing. "We're just taking pictures, not here to mess with you." For a moment, there was only silence. Then I heard footsteps. Not running, not even walking fast, just a slow, measured pace. One step, pause, another. They were coming from around the far corner of the corridor. Danny moved closer to me. "This is weird," she muttered. I tried to rationalize it. Security guard, another explorer, someone using the building for shelter. Humans. Humans I could handle. "Let's just see who it is," I whispered. We both shined our flashlights down the corridor, but it turned just before the footsteps reached the visible part. The sound stopped. "Hello?" I tried again. Nothing. My heart was beating harder, in that deep, pounding way that makes your ears ring. Something about the silence after those footsteps felt intentional, like whoever it was wanted to remind us they were there and then make us wait. "We should go," Danny said. "I don't like this." "Yeah," I agreed, finally listening to my gut. "Back the way we came." We turned around and started retracing our steps, moving a little faster than before. As we passed one of the smaller rooms, an old storage closet, my flashlight caught something that made my skin crawl. In the dust on the floor, there were footprints. Not ours. Different tread pattern. Bigger than Danny's, a bit bigger than mine. Fresh compared to the smudged, faded scuffs underneath. They led out of the closet and into the hallway we had just come from. "Danny," she whispered, pointing. "Those weren't there on the way in." She was right. I would have noticed. I notice details when I'm taking photos. My mouth went dry. We kept walking, more urgently now. Every little creak of the building, every distant drip of water sounded too loud, too close. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being herded, watched, guided. As we reached the main junction between wings, I noticed something that almost made me stop in place. When we had entered, there had been daylight spilling through a set of doors with wired glass panes, illuminating the hallway. Now those doors were closed, and the light was almost completely blocked by something large leaning against them from the outside. Someone had moved something in front of the exit.
My heart dropped into my stomach. Danny, I think someone knows we're in here. We walked up to the exit doors and pushed. They didn't budge. I shoved harder, shoulder against the bar. Nothing. Whatever was outside was heavy. Move back, I told Danny. I hit the door with my shoulder again, harder this time. Still nothing but a dull thud. Panic started to creep up my spine. We checked another door at the far end, chained shut from the outside. The padlock looked relatively new compared to the rest of the building. This doesn't make sense, Danny said, voice shaking. Why would they lock it from the outside if it's abandoned? I didn't have an answer. My breathing started to speed up, chest tight and burning. That's when we heard it again. Footsteps. This time, they weren't subtle. They echoed down the hall, steady, unhurried. Someone was walking towards us from the direction of the surgical wing we had just left. I turned, flashlight trembling slightly in my hand. The beam caught the far end of the hallway just as a figure stepped into view. It was a man, maybe late 40s, early 50s. He wore a faded dark jacket, jeans, and heavy boots. No mask, just a blank, unreadable expression. His hair was short and gray at the temples. He didn't look surprised to see us. He looked almost annoyed. "What are you doing in here?" he asked, voice flat. "We're just taking pictures," I said quickly, trying to keep my voice steady. "We didn't break anything. We were just leaving, but the doors—" "They're locked for a reason," he interrupted. "You're trespassing." I swallowed. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. "Are you security?" Danny asked. The man tilted his head. "Something like that." He started walking towards us, slow, deliberate. The way his boots hit the floor was the same steady rhythm we'd heard before. I stepped slightly in front of Danny without really thinking about it. Every instinct I had was telling me to put distance between us and this guy, but there was nowhere to go. Doors locked, exits blocked. "My truck's out back," he said. "I can call it in. Get someone to come cut you out. You're waiting in the basement." "The basement," I repeated, my stomach dropping. "Why the basement?" He shrugged, eyes never leaving us. "Safer there. No windows. Nobody sees you. Don't want kids thinking it's okay to come in here." The way he said, "Nobody sees you," made my skin crawl. Behind him, further down the hall, my flashlight picked up more details. A plastic crate, extension cords, and what looked worryingly like large plastic-wrapped bundles stacked in a side room. Not hospital equipment, not anything that belonged in a shut-down building. In that moment, everything slotted into place in my mind. The fresh footprints, the chained doors, the sound of wheels and metal, the exits blocked from the outside. This place wasn't just abandoned, it was being used. And this man did not want uninvited guests walking back out and telling anyone about it. Danny's hand tightened around my sleeve. I could feel her shaking.
We're actually good, I said, forcing a weak smile. We'll just find another way out. Don't want to be a bother. His eyes hardened. He stopped about 10 feet away from us. "You're not going to find another way out," he said quietly. "Not without help." He let that hang in the air between us, like a threat wrapped in concern. I don't know what possessed me, but my brain went into overdrive, trying to find an angle. "We've got friends outside," I lied. "They know we're in here. If we don't text back soon, they're calling the cops." It was a complete bluff. It was just us. No one else knew where we were. The man's expression flickered just for a second, a tiny crack. Then he smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Good," he said. "Then they can explain why you ignored the keep out signs." He took another step toward us. That was enough for me. "Run," I whispered to Danny. We turned and sprinted back down the hallway, away from the blocked doors and from him. My heart was hammering,
my breath coming in sharp, ragged bursts. I could hear his footsteps explode behind us, faster now, heavier, echoing through the corridor. We tore through side halls, not even caring where they led, just trying to put walls between us and him. We crashed through a doorway into what looked like an old pediatrics ward. Faded murals on the walls, tiny beds, scattered toys left behind. "Windows!" I gasped. "We need a window on the first floor." We ran room to room until finally I found one where the glass was already cracked. Outside, I could see the side lot, weeds and broken concrete. It looked like a 10-foot drop, tops. "Help me," I said. We grabbed a metal IV stand and used it like a battering ram, smashing the remaining glass out of the frame. My hands shook so hard I could barely hold onto it. Every second I expected to hear the man come pounding into the ward behind us. And then we did. His voice bellowed down the hall. "Stop! You're going to get hurt!" I didn't believe for a second that he cared. Without overthinking it, I climbed onto the radiator and swung one leg through the window. The edge of the frame scraped my shin, but adrenaline drowned out the pain. "Go, go, go!" I urged Danny. We half fell, half jumped to the ground outside, landing hard and stumbling. I felt something in my ankle protest, but it held. We ran. Branches whipped at our faces as we crashed through the overgrown side yard. I didn't dare look back until we were almost at the tree line bordering the property. When I finally glanced over my shoulder, I saw him standing at the broken window, watching us. Just watching. Hands on the sill. No yelling now. No running after us. Just a cold, calculating stare. We didn't stop until we hit a side road and flagged down a passing car. A middle-aged couple who stared at us like we were insane. They drove us to the nearest gas station and waited while we called the police. We did file a report, to their credit. 2 officers went out to check the premises. They came back an hour later and told us they didn't find anyone who matched our description. Place is falling apart. Kids sneak in sometimes. We didn't see any trucks, no fresh tracks. You sure you didn't spook yourselves? I almost lost it right there. We insisted. We told them about the chain doors, the blocked exits, the fresh footprints, the man, the stacked plastic-wrapped bundles in the side room. They exchanged a look. One of them wrote it all down, but his face said he didn't expect to do much with it. "We'll let the city know it needs to be better secured. Best thing you two can do is stay away." That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that man's face at the window. The way he said, "You're not going to find another way out." Like he already knew the layout, knew all the exits, knew exactly how to keep someone inside. A week later, I drove past the hospital from the main road. New fencing had gone up. Fresher, no trespassing, and city property signs. A couple of security cameras that hadn't been there before. Whatever they found, if they found anything at all, no one ever said. To this day, I have no idea who that man was, or what they were using that abandoned hospital for. I don't know if we interrupted something in progress, or if we were supposed to be part of whatever came next. All I know is this: that building might be condemned on paper, but to someone, it's still very much in use. And the thought of how many other abandoned places are like that, hiding their own secrets behind locked doors and boarded windows, makes my stomach twist every time I drive past one. Abandoned schools, desert motels, shuttered hospitals. On paper, they're listed as condemned, vacated, no longer in use. But when you step inside, you realize something unsettling. It's not always ghosts you have to worry about. It's the people who choose to stay behind or move in when everyone else has already left. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't a shadow in the corner or a whisper down the hall. It's the sound of deliberate footsteps in a place that's supposed to be empty. It's a locked door that wasn't locked before. It's the quiet certainty that someone is watching you, and they don't want you to leave. If you ever decide to explore somewhere abandoned, remember this. No video, no photo, no adrenaline rush is worth that sinking feeling when you realize you might not be alone, and whoever's there has the home field advantage. Thank you for joining me tonight on Night Encounters. If you have a true or allegedly true story about an abandoned place, a strange encounter, or a night you still can't fully explain, and you'd like it to be featured in a future video, you can submit it here. nightEncountersStories@gmail.com. Please include as many details as you remember, where it happened, when, and what you felt in the moment. Your story might be the next one whispered in the dark. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next night encounter. Until then, stay safe, stay aware, and if a place looks like everyone left in a hurry, there might be a reason.